Well, the deposition from Blake Lively has been redacted. Is it proof that she has no proof?
Blake Lively's courtroom fight just took an unexpected turn, and it's the kind of twist that has both fans and critics buzzing. A portion of her deposition, previously hidden behind heavy redactions, has now surfaced, and it's raising serious questions.
Which ones? Blake, all of them. And I believe you are referring to Brian Friedman, who was doing the questions. And what is the basis for your belief that all the defendants and myself are involved in an ongoing smear campaign?
Supporters call it a snapshot of her ongoing struggle against a relentless smear campaign. Detractors say it's something far more damaging, a moment that could undermine one of her core claims. In the legal world, perception matters almost as much as evidence, and this clip is already being dissected from every angle. At the center is a single pressing question. Does Blake actually have proof, or is she relying on what she's been told?
I understand that is what you feel and you hold, and I'm receiving this information, Blake. But I want to know, what are the events? What is it that I've done? Because you accuse me. What is it? Not me, but the attorney that's asking questions, or Baldoni. What is it that they've done? Can you tell me, that they made a call, they sent an email, something? And she says at the end, other than what my attorneys have told me, I have no idea how to answer. And that is not good, because that really means is I have no factual basis outside of what my attorneys have told me for this claim that people have engaged in the smear campaign.
The answer could decide whether her case maintains momentum or stumbles before it even reaches trial. And with high-profile attorneys circling and social media watching like hawks, every word she said and didn't say is now a potential weapon. As the legal drama unfolds, we're left with a gripping courtroom mystery. Did this deposition help her cause, or did it hand her opponents exactly what they've been waiting for?
So what does this mean legally for the lawsuit? Well, it means that there is no basis for that claim because she cannot answer. She cannot answer from her own independent knowledge, but it's her lawsuit. The lawyers aren't suing, she's suing.
The pivotal moment came when Blake was pressed on a simple but explosive question. When did the alleged smear campaign against her end? Instead of naming a date, she replied that it didn't feel like it had ended at all. In her mind, it was still going on. When asked who she believed was involved, she didn't hesitate all of the defendants, plus the attorney questioning her. But the real turning point came when she was challenged to back that claim without leaning on what her lawyers had told her.
How it was weird, we can go back to what I said for the documentary, it was all very strange and people reacting to it, and then the cross showing of evidence, we were all reacting to this stuff organically. And I think Baldoni, if he's going to do a good job, or his attorneys rather, would do a good job, they will tell that to the jury. Listen, after this story came out with the New York Times, and then we did our cross complaint. Yeah, it doesn't exist, but we were all doing that. You guys were doing that, right? It's yeah, we were doing that too. It's well, is that a smear campaign? Did you participate in our smear campaign? I think that's what they will do.
At that point, her response was telling. She said that, aside from legal conversations, she couldn't answer. For opponents, this was the gotcha moment, a chance to argue that she has no independent knowledge of the alleged smear. In high-stakes litigation, such moments are gold for the other side, especially when they can be framed as an admission of weakness. What should have been an opportunity to land a strong blow instead left her exposed. Whether this was a slip under pressure or a gap in preparation, it's now locked into the official record, and it could be used to narrow her claims moving forward. Legal analysts have been quick to weigh in, calling this a textbook example of why witness preparation matters. Without concrete, first-hand examples to support her accusations, Blake's claim risks being trimmed down or even dismissed. One interpretation is that her team may have assumed the ongoing aspect of the smear campaign would be self-evident, only for the opposing attorney to zero in on it like a laser. The risk now is that the defense can push for the court to set strict limits on the timeline of her claims, potentially ending it now the lawsuit was filed. That would cut off any new discovery into more recent events, a major setback for her side. Others argue that this exchange doesn't necessarily destroy her case, but it does give the opposition a talking point to hammer home in motions and at trial. The bigger danger is psychological. Judges and juries remember moments when a witness struggles to answer. And while Blake's supporters see her as fighting against an entrenched system, her critics are already calling this proof that her accusations are built on feelings rather than verifiable facts. In legal chess, this might be the equivalent of losing a queen early in the game. Meanwhile, Baldoni's team appears to be preparing a counter-narrative, one that frames the public chatter as a natural, organic reaction to the case, rather than a coordinated smear. Leaked text exchanges and social media posts show defendants laughing at memes, reacting to tweets, and commenting on coverage from outlets like The Hollywood Reporter. This assists defense attorneys will likely argue that this was simply people talking about a sensational story, not plotting behind the scenes. They can point to viral content and influencer commentary, including popular TikTok breakdowns and AI-generated images, as examples of a broader public reacting on its own. If they succeed in convincing the court that these interactions were harmless or incidental, it could dismantle a key pillar of Blake's claim. More importantly, it shifts the tone of the case. Instead of being painted as aggressors, the defendants can position themselves as passive participants in a media storm they didn't create. It's a strategic pivot, and in the court of public opinion, framing is everything. If jurors buy into the "everyone was talking about it" defense, it could significantly blunt the emotional impact of Blake's smear campaign narrative. This case isn't just being fought in the courtroom, it's also playing out in the media. But using legal proceedings as a PR stage is risky, and the judge has already shown a low tolerance for it. Baldoni's side was recently reprimanded for filing more than necessary, prompting speculation that they were trying to score publicity points. Legal experts say that's a dangerous game. Judges, especially in high-profile jurisdictions, guard the integrity of their courtroom closely. Push too far, and you risk sanctions, limits on evidence, or worse. The balancing act is tricky. While the public's perception can influence negotiations and even jury pools, overplaying that hand can alienate the very authority deciding the case. Both sides have been accused of skating close to the line, but so far, the judge's warnings have been aimed at the defense. For Blake's team, the goal will be to stay above the fray and project professionalism. For the defense, they'll need to decide whether the PR buzz is worth the judicial scolding. In high-stakes litigation, decorum isn't just etiquette, it's strategy. And right now, the spotlight on courtroom conduct is burning brighter than ever. Adding another layer of drama, celebrity blogger Perez Hilton has waded into the fray, filing court documents that the judge deemed inappropriate and disrespectful.
That's now the judge has deemed, inappropriate, disrespectful, lack of decorum. He's literally called the judge biased in his own pro se letters to the judge, calling him sexy, XOXO. The judge had to put a letter out saying, enough, stop it, or you'll be held in contempt. Do you think that stuff's actually going to affect this judge? Do you think this judge is biased? What are your thoughts on sort of how this is turning into your final thoughts?
In an eyebrow-raising move, he reportedly referred to the judge with cheeky sign-offs, prompting a formal warning to maintain decorum or face contempt.
And I have done nothing wrong. I'm not afraid of Blake Lively. I'm not afraid of this judge.
While these antics make for sensational headlines, they also risk distracting from the core issues of the case. Judges aren't known for their sense of humor when it comes to respect for the bench, and repeated breaches can lead to fines or evidence restrictions.
I can't say I think the judge is biased? That's ridiculous. No, but seriously, why should a pro se movement not be allowed to tell the judge he or she thinks they're biased? That's BS.
I thought it was something that was a little bit past the line of what is normal behavior in a courtroom, especially a federal courtroom in Southern District of New York. This is the same district that dealt with the Diddy case. These people, these judges, these staff people, they take their job very seriously. And if they get a sense that anyone's trying to use the system just for public relations purposes, they should, in my opinion, to keep, the respect of the courts alive, to call people out.
For the defense, the danger is clear. Even if they're not directly behind Hilton's filings, any perceived alignment could sour their standing with the court. For Blake, this is an opportunity to highlight the difference between legal argument and spectacle. But the real takeaway here is how quickly sideshows can overshadow substance. In a trial already heavy with public intrigue, even the smallest misstep in tone or conduct can shift momentum. And with the judge signaling that patience is wearing thin, any future slip-ups from either camp could come with more than just a slap on the wrist.
Right, well, they're like, well, but Blake's side's doing it all the time, Ron. They're breaking the rules. They're putting all our data, which they did. A lot of creators' private data came out. It is odd that Blake's side has not seen any punishment. They lied about me, criminal behavior. I mean, I see why some people are passionate about wanting to call out this judge, but you don't think that's going to help.
So where does this leave Blake Lively's case? On one hand, the deposition moment has handed her opponents a narrative they can push hard, that her claims lack first-hand proof. On the other, it's far from a fatal blow. Skilled attorneys can reframe a shaky answer, and the broader case still has multiple moving parts. The next key battles will likely center on whether the court limits the timeline of her smear campaign allegations and how much discovery is allowed into recent events. Public opinion remains divided, with some seeing her as a victim of calculated attacks and others viewing her as overreaching. What's certain is that both sides are playing for more than just a legal win. They're shaping reputations, careers, and public legacies. The stakes are enormous, and every filing, leak, and courtroom exchange adds another twist. For now, all eyes will be on the next round of motions and any new evidence that surfaces. Whether this ends in a negotiated settlement or a headline-grabbing trial, one thing is clear: the drama is far from over, and the most explosive revelations may still be ahead.